Have you ever stopped to reflect why some people spend their entire lives depending on the salary, while others build fortunes from scratch and leave a legacy for the next generations? Why are there those who buy the first house at 25 and others at 50 still count every penny as if it were the last? The answer is not in luck or university diploma, let alone influential contacts. I will tell you how me, coming from a simple family, father accountant, mother selling homemade salty at the fair, without any financial privilege, was able to turn a shortage of scarcity into economic freedom. My first salary was so modest that I still remember the exact value, 15,000 rubles in 1999. At the time, it seemed that those numbers defined my destiny. But here is the truth. It is not the numbers that limit your life, but the way you think about them. If you think a million is unreachable for an ordinary person, listen carefully, because I followed a path that started exactly there with that minimum wage and reached financial independence. And it was all based on simple principles, tested over time, that work for anyone, anywhere, anytime. Have you noticed how some people see opportunities where most only see obstacles? I grew up watching this. My grandfather always said, money likes an account. But he didn't just talk about writing spending. He talked about understanding how money works, how to make him work in his favor. It took me years to decipher this lesson until one day I started putting it into practice. Here is the crucial point. Many expect the secret of wealth to be a magic formula, a single miraculous step. The good news is that it does not exist. And this is positive because it means that wealth does not depend on luck, but on consistent action, small daily choices that anyone can do as long as it is disposed of. Stay until the end, because I will share the 4 pillars that allowed me to turn a tight salary into millions. And I will be sincere, some of these steps generate fear. Others seem logical to those who always live on the edge. But I tested them in practice, and they worked. You will know real stories, as I invested my first $100, the mistakes that almost ruined me, and how a small habit has completely changed my financial trajectory. If you stay until the end, you will still receive a concrete action plan to start today. I know many are thinking, this is beautiful on paper, but it won't work for me. Credit on me. I'd also doubted. I came from a family without a tradition of wealth. I worked for crumbs, saw friends and colleagues spend everything they earned, and complain about life, until I made a decision. My story would not be the same as theirs. If you are ready to stop waiting miracles and start building your own financial reality, if you are willing to see money and possibilities with other eyes, this content is for you. Stay until the end, because the best is yet to come. And, by the way, a spoiler, the secret that I will reveal in the end is surprisingly simple, but it requires discipline and honesty with oneself. If you take it seriously, your life will never be the same. Set against it. Eliminate distractions, because I will show a path that turns a modest salary by fortune, a path taken by generations, which I follow myself and which is within all. Prepared? So let's start. We reach the heart of the issue. You have heard that wealth begins in mind, not in the salary. But what does this mean in practice? How can someone with a small yield step by step turn it into millions? Let me tell my story. My first formal job was in a warehouse, with low salary and heavy work. It was there that I learned a fundamental lesson. If you don't learn to manage the little you have, you'll never have much. Each reel would leave with food, transportation, and small spending, and it seemed to have nothing left until I started doing something basic: register everything, how much I earned, how much I spent, where every penny was going. It sounds simple, but it is the first and most powerful step. Even with a small salary, knowing exactly where your money is going is the same as taking the reins of your life. I remember a day when analyzing my spending, I realized that I spent more with cafes and snacks than on books and courses. It was a turning point. If you wanted in changing life, needed to invest in knowledge, not passenger pleasures. Here is the second principle. Invest in yourself. At first, I didn't quite understand what that meant until I bought my first finance book, which cost almost half of my salary. It was the best decision I made. Each book read, every course done, every conversation with people who knew how to generate and multiply money opened me doors and ideas that I didn't even imagine. I will give an example. I started a small project selling online office supplies. It seemed silly, pens and notebooks to friends and acquaintances, but I applied what I had learned. I planned, analyzed the demand, learned to deal with money. In a year, it became a stable income. And this leads us to another fundamental principle. Do not expect an increase in employment. Create your own sources of income. When people hear about investments, they soon think of complex schemes and large amounts. But it is possible to start with little. My first application was only $100 in a project that helped people solve everyday problems. Do you know what happened? The project paid, and the experience I won was worth much more than money. The next step is discipline and clear goals. I have always established specific and measurable goals, such as saving X thousand Rs by the end of the year to invest in a new project. I followed the plan, even when it was difficult. Of course, I made mistakes once. I invited something that went totally wrong, but each stumble was a lesson. The error is a capital that no one can take from you. I want you to understand the power of habits. Small, daily actions build results over the years. From the beginning, with my 15,000 rubles, I kept at least 10% every month, even if I didn't seem to make a difference. A few years later, this discipline gave me the first capital to invest. And there is one more principle: the strength of the network and the environment. For years, I noticed that people who thrive financially are always close to others who know how to win, invest, and undertake. The environment shapes the thought. I started to get mentors, to talk to those who had already achieved what I wanted, to ask questions. Each interaction brought me closer to my goals. Now the question is, are you ready to take the first step? The choice is yours. The difference between those who live on the limit and who build wealth is not in salary, but in attitudes. And attitudes you can change from today. Learning from the mistakes and experiences of others has a colossal effect. When you are surrounded by people who know how to create money, new ideas, contacts, and opportunities naturally come up. Allow me to share another example of my life. When I opened my first business, many friends said, "This is too risky. Don't do it." But I applied the accumulated knowledge over the years and did not let the fear of making a mistake to paralyze myself. I divided the project into small steps, minimized the risks, and gradually my little business began to generate a profit that exceeded all my expectations. What most helps to turn a modest salary into millions? Continuous learning and adaptation. The world changes, economic conditions become, and new opportunities appear every day. I have always struggled to see trends, explore new markets, and study financial instruments. This is also part of millennial wisdom, never content with what has already been achieved. Use intelligence and knowledge to multiply wealth. And most importantly, I understood financial independence is not a destination, but a process. It is a path that begins with small habits to count every real, learn, invest in yourself, and seek opportunities. I want you to understand wealth is not magic. It is no lottery, no inheritance. It is a sequence of proven actions for time. Each step you take today brings you to tomorrow's financial freedom. Do you know what else? You will be surprised. But a small habit that I introduced into my life changed everything. Every day, I reserved time to reflect on how to gain, how to invest, how to improve my skills. There were no hours working on a poorly paid job, but hours of planning and reflection. This is what allowed me to see opportunities where others only saw problems. So remember these truths: 1. Control about money is the first step. 2. Invest is in knowledge and skills. This is the capital that no one can take from you. 3. Create your own sources of income. Don't wait for an increase. 4. Define goals and follow them with discipline. 5. Walk on successful people and learn from their experiences. 6. Small daily habits lead to great results. 7. Learn and adapt constantly. The world does not stop, and you should not stop either. If you follow these principles, even with a small salary, you can build a property that will ensure not only your future, but also that of the next generations. Believe me, I like this way. Now, let's put all the pieces together and see what that means in practice. The first thing to understand is that wealth is not just a number in the bank account, but a mental state. I met people with millions who were still unhappy because they didn't know how to manage money or had clarity on purpose. And I met others with modest salaries who lived safely and happily because they knew how to plan, invest, and create opportunities. My journey taught me a simple truth: if you want to change your life, start with you. Don't expect someone to give you a chance. Do not think things will be resolved alone. Set goals, control your finances, invest in knowledge, create sources of income. Do at least one small step a day toward your goal, and years later you will be surprised by the result. There is one more thing that many people ignore. Financial freedom is not just about money. It is about choice. It is the ability to decide how to live, what to do with whom to work, how to use your time. Money gives freedom of action, but to win it, you don't just need money, the skills and habits that make you grow. I remember when my business started to make a profit. I was in a small, rented apartment, thinking how good it would be not to worry about every penny. Today, I don't only have financial stability, but also time to travel, learn, help others, and invest in projects that inspire me. And it all started with small steps. the discipline of controlling finances, the habit of investing in knowledge, and the courage to take every opportunity that appeared. But I want to be honest. The way for millions is never easy. There will be errors, doubts, moments when you will want to give up. I went through this. I had projects that failed, money that was lost, days when everything seemed meaningless. But there is a rule that I learned forever. Every wrong step is a lesson. Each error is an investment and experience that will bring return with interest. And here is another secret. People think financial freedom is a goal to be achieved. In fact, it is a process of constant movement. Even when you reach a good level of income, it is crucial not to stop to learn by learning, seeking new opportunities, and maintaining discipline. Otherwise, the money begins to escape, the chances go unnoticed, and what was built can get lost. Now, let's transform all these principles into a clear and practical action plan. 1. Total financial control. Write down each reel that comes in and out. Analyze your spending. Eliminate waste. Without control, there is no way to accumulate capital. 2. Invest in knowledge. Read books. Make courses. Talk to those who have arrived where you want. Your knowledge is the first and most valuable active. 3. Diversify your sources of income. Do not depend only on the salary. Parallel business, investments, freelance, and additional flow brings it closer to freedom. 4. Discipline and clear goals. Set measurable goals. Plan the steps and keep the focus even on difficult days. Small daily advances build extraordinary results. 5. Surrounded by the right. Their relationships shape their habits and mentality. Seek people who inspire, teach, and support their growth. 6. Daily habits that transform small repeated actions as 10 minutes of spending planning or annotation lengthy impact. 7. Constant adaptation. The world evolves, and you must be open to learning, changing, and experimenting with the new. I want you to understand one thing, even with a small salary, even when it seems that money gives nothing, you have the most valuable feature: time and the ability to learn. Use them. Turn the practice of controlling your finances into the ability to create opportunities. Convert small steps in AL Epros of a lasting fortune. Remember, the way for the millions starts with a single step. Today, now, you can take this step. Start by planning. Prepare a clear plan. Set aside a daily time to learn, reading, watching quality content, or practicing income-generating skills. Find a small project, something that can bring a financial, even modest return. Do not expect the perfect moment, because it does not exist. Each day, take at least one step, however small, towards your goal. If you are willing to start this journey, I guarantee you something: the results will come. They may not be immediate, but they will be inevitable, because the principles I shared here work. They are proven for generations, tested by me and thousands of people who have applied them. They do not fail. Now I have a request to make. If you want to receive more stories like this, more practical tips and concrete steps to gain financial freedom, follow this content, activate notifications, and stay here. In the next materials, I will share detailed investment strategies, reports of people who have transformed their lives, and even deeper principles of millennial financial wisdom. Keep this. Your life is in your hands. A small salary today is not a sentence, it's the starting point to build something much bigger. All you need is discipline, knowledge, action, and confidence in yourself. Start now. Take the first step. One day you will look back and realize it all started with a very modest salary, and today I have the freedom and the opportunities I didn't even dream. Believe me, I have reached this path, and I know that if you follow these principles, you will reach what today seems impossible. The choice is yours.